People often ask the question, why are drugs so expensive? Why are medical devices so expensive? When we sell a drug, we sell a device, we're subsidizing the R&D of all the drugs, all the devices that never made it to market. So why does a drug not make it to a market? Why does a device not make it to a market? There are two reasons. They're not effective, that there's a drug on the market that's equally good, or it just doesn't help, or they're not safe. We don't have in industry right now good techniques for predicting which drugs, which devices will be safe and effective. And so we go through what's called a clinical trial process. There are multiple phases, starting with animal trials, small-scale human trials, large-scale human trials. These trials, particularly the large-scale trials, are very expensive, and most of them fail because there's either they're not effective or they're not safe. This enormously increases the cost, and the question is, why do most of them fail? Why couldn't you have predicted that it's going to fail? Or why couldn't you have designed it so that it's not going to fail? Now, when I say design it so it doesn't fail, I'm not talking about fooling the public or fooling the FDA. I'm talking about figuring out in advance which individuals would benefit, which individuals would not benefit, and which individuals might be harmed. And if you could identify those classes prior to the trial, you could design the trial around the individuals who are likely to benefit, dramatically reducing the chance of failure. And then, of course, once the drug or the device is approved, you would then use the same predictive model to decide who should get the drug or who should get the device, rather than this shotgun approach of trying it on a large number of people. I've exaggerated, right? Device companies, pharmaceutical companies, they're not stupid. They have talented people. They do some of this, but we don't think they do it nearly as well as they could. And we think we could be very helpful in that. A big clinical trial is a few thousand patients. That's not a big number. So one of the questions we ask is, can you use very sophisticated transfer learning techniques to move data from one trial into another trial, combine data from multiple trials, look at even non-trial data to build models that would help you design your trials more effectively. Another thing you can do is look at failed trials retrospectively and say, well, could we have predicted prior to the trial which class of patients shouldn't have gotten this drug because they don't benefit? And could you maybe from that say, well, yeah, with no way we could have known it before the trial. Having looked at it retrospectively, we now have a good algorithm for separating classes of patients. Try a new trial using this algorithm to select the patients, and maybe you can get your drug approved. So there are a lot of things you can do. Another thing we're looking at is other indications. A big part of the pharmaceutical business today is you get a drug approved for indication X, and you might observe by accident the people who are taking it for indication X are also benefiting for indication Y. This gets back to the issue of hypothesis generation. Could you look at the history of people who are taking a drug and discover that there's another indication? This happens all the time, often by accident. But could we be more systematic? Could we use more sophisticated techniques to find other indications?